Welcome to the video which is on the political development of Nepal from 2007 BS to 2017 BS. We would like to express our gratitude to Assam sir for providing us with the wonderful opportunity to showcase the political development of Nepal from 2007 BS to 2017 BS. Political development from 2007 BS to 2017 BS had played an indispensable role towards the entire political structure to today. It might just be a period of decade, but this part of history is as important as water for animate organisms. After the completion of Delhi Agreement, which was held between the Ranas, the king, and the Nepali Congress on 1st Fagun 2007 BS, King Tribhuvan returned back to Nepal on 4th of Fagun 2007 BS. Later, on 7th of Fagun 2007 BS, Nepal was officially declared as a democratic country. Nepal got rid by the autocratic, tyrannical, and suppressive Ranas. Basically, democracy is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. Democracy was a complete new term for Nepali politics at that time. Delhi Agreement had a clause of appointing a 10-member interim cabinet with 5 Ranas and 5 congressmen, which would work under the leadership of Mohan Shamsher. This government was given 2 chief tasks. 1. To conduct constituent assemblies election and promulgate the constitution. 2nd. After the promulgation of constitution, the government had to conduct a democratic election of appointing members of parliament, and that particular parliament would then choose a prime minister. Mohan Shamsher-led coalition government approved the Interim Constitution Act 2007 BS on 17th of Chaitra. The Interim Constitution of Nepal was the first constitution in Nepal to be implemented. The constitution has 7 parts, 73 articles, and 3 schedules. Later, on 27th of Chaitra 2007 BS, the constitution was enforced. The year 2007 had come to an end. But there was a twist in the tale. The original plan never worked at all after the promulgation of Constitution of Nepal 2007 BS. The wind was blowing at complete opposite direction. The coalition government formed between 5 Ranas and 5 congressmen could not work smoothly as people with different ideas were there. They could not establish a common ground. Ranas were trying their level best to regain their lost powers. It was an unnatural coalition and was doomed to fail. Bharat Shamsher, with the help of some soldiers, came to attack BP Koirala, but it didn't work. This is called Revolt of Khukuri Dal. The Congress felt that they couldn't work with the Rana, so they resigned on Kartik 25, 2008 BS. This forced Mohan Shamsher to resign the following day. This incident was catastrophic for the Ranas. Then, the king invited Matrika Prasad Koirala, the president of Nepali Congress, to form a cabinet on Mangshir 1st, 2008 BS. The cabinet consisted of 14 members, 8 from Nepali Congress and 6 independent candidates.
Communist Party of Nepal and others formed a united democratic front and demanded an all-party government. Another trouble came from Dr. K.L. Singh, who revolted against the government. This paved the way for other parties to get into power. Dr. K.L. Singh's revolt was silenced soon and he fled to Tibet. Coming back to the topic about government, there were 2 factions in the party. One led by Matrika Prasad Koirala and another half by his brother Visweswar Prasad Koirala. Their ideas regarding executive power were clashing against each other. According to BP Koirala, a single person should not hold both executive power, and just the other way around according to MP Koirala. Their ideas belonged to 2 different poles in this hostile situation. The cabinet could not function properly and was soon dissolved. After Matrika government was dissolved, King Tribhuvan established a 5-member councillor government under his own leadership, but this act of the king wasn't liked by the parties. King Tribhuvan tried to exercise executive power which wasn't liked by the politicians and citizens. The cabinet of ministers did not work independently, as they were pressured to follow order of King Tribhuvan. Later, congressmen were protesting against that situation. Simultaneously, foreign interference was increasing in the country. Later, Nepal congressmen started farmers' protests throughout the nation. Consequently, this government was dissolved on Asar 2nd, 2010 BS.
King Tribhuvan again formed a 5-member cabinet with 12 secretaries under the premiership of MP Koirala. On Baisakh 2011 BS, this government signed an agreement which is known as Kosi Agreement with India regarding the division of Kosi River. Similarly, this government was highly influenced by India. This government was allowing Indian army to enter the nation along with arms and ammunition. Due to this reason, MP Koirala's government was highly criticized by the citizens and the political parties. In the meantime, King Tribhuvan handed over all powers to Crown Prince Mahendra and went Zurich, Switzerland for treatment. Later, the government was dissolved by the Crown Prince Mahendra on 19th of Fagun 2011 BS. King Tribhuvan died in Zurich on Fagun 30, 2011 BS, and on Chaitra 1, 2011 BS, Mahendra ascended the throne. King Mahendra was an ambitious king. He wanted to gain as much power as possible, wanted to run the nation under his fingertips. He was very smart and was crafty. Initially, he took all the executive power of the nation and autocratically started to rule the nation. He made a council of 5 members who used to advise the king to rule the nation. Regarding this, it was also highly criticized as democracy was already set up in Nepal. Democracy doesn't mean rule of the king. Democracy is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. But the situation then was just the other way around. During Mahendra's government, Nepal became a member of UNO in 1955 AD. The king's direct rule got a widespread opposition and was soon dissolved. So he invited Tanka Prasad Acharya, president of Praja Parishad, to form of a cabinet. Acharya formed a cabinet of 7 people on March 13, 2012 BS. During his premiership, 5-year plan was started and Nepal Rashtra Bank and the Supreme Court were established. During his premiership, the country was facing extreme economic depression, medias were restricted, and this government could not conduct elections for the Constituent Assembly or for the Parliament in time. Due to these reasons, he was forced to resign and he resigned on Asar 31, 2014 BS.
During this phase of the video, I have discussed about Dr. K. I. Singh. He was against the Delhi Agreement. He had also revolted against Matrika's government, but later he fled to Tibet and was living a decent life. Coming back to 2014 BS, after Acharya's resignation, he was requested by the King Mahendra to return back to Nepal and run parliament under his leadership. A 11-member cabinet was formed on Shravan 11, 2014 BS under Dr. K. I. Singh's leadership. But there was severe criticism and protests against the government since it was very formation. Therefore, the king had to dissolve the government on Kartik 19, 2014 BS. Year of 2014 BS had come to an end, but still, election of Constituent Assembly or the Parliament wasn't held. Later, the king appointed Chuvana Samser as the Prime Minister of Nepal. Now, there comes a twist in the tale. King changed about 67 government just to conduct the election of Constitution Assembly. He did not consider any government to possess the ability of conducting Constituent Assembly, so he decided to write the condition by himself, according to his wish. On Fagun 1, the Constitution of Nepal 2015 was promulgated. It had 10 parts, 77 articles and 3 schedules. It had provision of independent judiciary, multi-party democratic system, bicameral parliament system, public service, commission, emergency power, etc.
Later, Subarna's government had successfully conducted election of parliament. The first parliamentary elections was held on Fagun 7, 2015 BS. It was the month of Asar. The results were out. Nepali Congress got absolute majority in elections which paved the way for Bibi Koirala to become the Prime Minister of the country. Congress won 74 seats out of 109. This was a historic day for Nepal. Bibi Koirala became the first elected Prime Minister of Nepal. This elected government was formed after nearly 10 years of the abandon of democracy in Nepal. It was the beginning of a stable and democratic political practice. Nepal just started to have political and economic reformation, but the regressive forces unable to get public support began to make conspiracies. Several disturbances took place. The country remained unstable with economic problems and disturbance.
King Mahendra, who did not like multi-party democracy, took the opportunity and post 1 2017 BS and made a speech broadcast on the radio announcing his takeover. The country was in deep gloom. With the allegation, the king arrested the prime minister, the ministers, and other leaders and put them in prison. The royal act is called Coup of 2017 BS. On March 22, 2017, he announced partyless panchayat system. He appointed a cabinet under his own leadership with 5 ministers and 4 assistant ministers.
निर्वाचन पछि बनेको यो मन्त्रीमण्डलले शान्ति सुरक्षा कायम गर्ने जस्तो हरेक सभ्य सरकारको प्राथमिक कर्तव्य पनि पूरा गर्न सकेन। यसरी देश दिन प्रतिदिन ओह्रालो लागेको देखेर भइरहेको राजनीतिक दलहरू र दलगत राजनैतिक उद्देश्यले प्रेरित भएका वर्गीय संगठनहरूलाई समेत यही घोषणाद्वारा हाललाई अवैध घोषित गरी यस्ता संस्थाहरूमा प्रतिबन्ध लगाइबसेका छौं।
After this incident, the year of 2017 BS has come to an end. These decades were very important for Nepal. A lot of developments were done during these phases.
Panchayat was a partyless political system incepted by King Mahendra by silencing the Nepali Congress government of BP Koirala. Most of the politicians were spending their lives behind the bars. For instance, if someone raised their voice against the government, he or she was considered as a traitor at that time. After the takeover of 2017 BS, the Nepali Congress leader Subarna Samsud announced an armed struggle. Many violent events took place in many places. The government began to take very suppressive measures. As a result, the armed struggle was called off. On 1st of Baisakh 2018 BS, country was divided into 13,075 districts. Later, when the king was at Janakpur on a visit in March 2018 BS, a catastrophic incident was on the verge of its departure. Durgananda Jha hurled a bomb at king's jeep. The king had a narrow escape. This incident is known as Janakpur incident. He was arrested and was hanged to death. On Pause 1 2019 BS, new panchayat-based constitution was promulgated. In 2020 BS, the Mulki Ain was changed. It ensured that everyone was equal in law. Similarly, child marriage was banned and divorce was allowed. The first amendment to the Panchayati constitution was made in 2020 BS. Then came back to the village campaign in order to encourage educated people to return to villages and work there. Everything was going well from 2020 to 2027. There were no major political changes in the nation. Mahendra's time on earth was gradually coming to an end. In 2028 BS, King Mahendra was in Chitwan hunting reserve. There he died suddenly of heart attack at Dialog Bungalow. The following day, King Virendra ascended the throne. Some young communists in Jhapa had revolted against the government. Some insurgents who were involved in the rebellion were caught and brought to Sukhani in Ilam, where they were killed. Thus this event is known as Sukhani massacre. They were charged with the murder of Dharma Prasad Upadhyaya, who was the member of Rashtriya Panchayat. Later on 25th of Jyeshtha 2030 BS, first plane hijacking in Nepal took place. 3 members of the Nepali Congress hijacked a small Royal Nepal Airlines plane bound for Kathmandu from Biratnagar. They forced the pilot to land the plane in Farwizganj, Bihar. They looted rupees 30 lakhs of Nepal Rashtriya Bank to generate fund for armed revolution against the Panchayat government. After a month, on 25th of Asar, Singhadarwa caught fire. How it happened was a mystery. Kritinidhi Bistar was the Prime Minister then. It is said many important documents were burned to ashes. Later, Kritinidhi Bistar resigned from the post of Prime Minister. Another horrendous incident took place in Nepal in 2031 BS. The Panchayat government killed many Democrats in Okhaldunga. When they were attacked by police, the youths were in a camp organized against the Panchayat system. This carnage is called Timbur Bote incident. Later on 26th of March 2032 BS, the second amendment to the Panchayati constitution was made and incorporated a new slogan, politics for development. During the final days of 2035 BS, the military government of Pakistan executed the former Pakistani Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. The Nepali students protested regarding this incident outside the Pakistani embassy in Nepal. The police resorted to violence and stopped them. Many students were injured in the class. This further agitated the Nepali students and gave birth to a student movement. In the beginning, the demands were directed towards the educational reformation, but later on they became political. The movement turned violent as political parties with more extreme character also participated. At last, on 10th of Jester 2036 BS, King Birendra had to announce a referendum asking people to choose between reformed Panchayat system and multi-party democratic system. A 15-member National Election Commission under Chief Justice Bhagwati Prasad Singh was formed to conduct the poll, which was held on 20th of Baishakh 2037 BS. The total turnouts of the voters were around 48 lakhs. Out of them, 55% voted in the favor of Panchayat system and 45% voted in the favor of multi-party system. Thus, the victory went in the favor of Panchayat system. And this is how the period of 2036 BS had come to an end. So, these were the political developments in Nepal from 2007 to 2036 BS. Have a nice day. Thank you.